Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And unfortunately, over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend in Omaha, Nebraska, a gentleman by the name of Will McDonald supposedly accidentally shot and killed his 10-year-old son. They were at home late in the evening. He heard his car alarm go off, continues to go outside, and he thought that somebody was trying to take his car. He fired off shots, and it happened to be his son, who was 10 years old, and he killed him. And he's saying it was an accident, but come to find out, he's in a world of trouble because he's a convicted felon and was not supposed to have a weapon or a gun. I'm bringing this up because these loose liberal laws throughout our country, with all this conceal and carry, having all these guns on the street, even here in St. Louis, you go to a gas station, convenience store. I was just at a convenience store last week, and a guy it looked like a machine gun on him. A young black man, looked like he was in his early 20s. He had it sticking out of his pants, and of course, he was not going to work to a job with that size of a firearm on him. And there was nothing positive that is going to come out of it if he is walking around and feels the need to have a machine semi-automatic type weapon on him. Then whatever he's doing in his life, he needs to stop doing it. And promoting going to school, being a career-minded individual, and positivity has been thrown completely out of the window with many of our young people today. But back to the gentleman, Mr. Will McDonald in Nebraska. He wasn't even supposed to have a weapon. And everybody is so into having guns and policing themselves. We have a big promotion across America with these liberal laws to defund the police. That was definitely ignited by Black Lives Matter that no longer exists. And I tell people all the time, you can have a weapon, but if you go out here and shoot someone, or if you even shoot somebody in the back that's leaving your home, you're getting arrested. You're not the police, and carrying a gun all the time is not a great thing. And my common sense approach to it is that if you are going somewhere and you feel the need to bring a gun with you, then you probably don't need to be there. That's the basic common sense of life. And so everybody with this high promotion of guns is causing harm and destruction throughout our entire country. And now this gentleman ends up supposedly accidentally shooting and killing his 10-year-old son is something that is very terrible. And he was a convicted felon, which means he's going to go to jail. He's going to get charged with second-degree murder probably, but it's also a violation of him being a convicted felon. So he is going back to prison, and he killed his son. Hopefully it was by accident. The story sounds a little bit crazy. There's a big difference between a 10-year-old body and a 20 or 25-year-old body, assuming that his son was of average size. But this is something that is very harmful. And I can tell you two incidences here in St. Louis. There was a situation a year or two ago where a man saw a young lady getting beat on by another man on South Grand, and this gentleman gets out of his car with his gun to stop the man from beating on the woman, and then the man tried to assault the guy that got out of his car. The guy that got out of his car ended up shooting the guy that was beating on the woman, and the police arrested the shooter, and he went to jail. So thinking that you can have all these weapons and these guns and that you can just go around shooting people and purging society, you're going to end up in jail. There was another case 2 weeks ago where in Clayton, Missouri, where a gentleman was trying to break into another gentleman's car. This guy happened to notice that his car is getting broken into. He goes outside with his gun, and the guy that was breaking into the car ended up shooting the guy that came out of his house and killed him over a car. In both these incidences, the guy in Nebraska who thought somebody was breaking in his car at his house, and the guy in Clayton, Missouri who thought somebody was breaking in his wife's car, that's what car insurance is for. And to think that you're going to police and prevent somebody from stealing a material item from you that can be replaced, and then you end up with two separate murders, the guy in Nebraska killing his son by accident, and then the guy in Clayton, Missouri getting killed by the perpetrator of the person trying to steal his car. You ended up with two dead bodies. When the most common sense approach to any of this is to call the police. If you have something that's taking place from a public safety standpoint in your home or with your car, all these things that can be replaced, you should call the police. That's what they're here for. If your house catches on fire, you call the fire department. If you get sick, you go to the hospital. Some of these common sense approaches that people feel like they have just lost all realms of reality is becoming very destructive, and the decisions that these people are making can have long, life-lasting negative effects on them. And this gentleman in Nebraska, now he has killed his son. We have to get away from this heavy promotion of guns. There's too much gun violence in the streets of America. There are guns everywhere, and there are other ways to resolve issues without pulling out a gun every time. So, bringing this commentary up with the gentleman in Nebraska who accidentally killed his son, the gentleman in Clayton, Missouri a few weeks ago who was going outside of his home at 2:30 in the morning to protect his wife's car, and he ends up getting killed. Both of those decisions were poor decisions, and it ended up in two heinous crimes that they can never get back. And I think if they had an opportunity to rethink those scenarios, then the most appropriate thing would have been to call 911 and let the police handle it. But people have to remember and look at your state laws. Everybody running around here with guns in their car and guns on them. If you decide to shoot somebody, you better make sure you have a great self-defense camera footage and things of those nature to get you out of jail and keep you from going to jail. But if the American public thinks that they can just randomly shoot people and then come up with a storyline, you're going to be in a world of trouble, and you better have the best criminal defense lawyer and have a ton of money to get out of it. Sometimes we need to take 30 seconds or a minute to think about what's going on before we make a rash decision, and using a weapon or a gun is not the best decision 95% of the time. So let's manifest our truth with some basic common sense, positivity, and righteousness and God-fearing, and let's stop all these guns that are on the street, this gun violence, and let's try to come up with better solutions to make the world and America a safe place.